Hey everybody, it's Wes from Fundamental Games, the designer and independent publisher of Legends of Novus. And today I'm going to take you through a gameplay of it. I'm going to play with two characters and just see, maybe we'll play through a portion of a game. I don't want to take more than 40 minutes or so at most. And you just kind of give you another idea of how to play for those of you who are seeing Novus for the first time or maybe want to get an idea of what it's all about. So what is Legends of Novus? Well, it's a 2 to 5 player kind of exploration, character development, and boss battle kind of game. You can play it solo as well. I have solo rules in there that you have to defeat a certain amount of cards and creatures within 25 turns, but today I'll play two characters against one another. And so rather than explain the entire game, I'll just go through the setup process. Today we'll play with, let's say, Beric the Druid. So Beric we'll put over here. Here, we'll put him in this slot. And Beric has to start off as the Druid character. So there we go. Beric, he's got that nice bear phantasmal image there. He's a Druid of Vey, which is his homeland. And he cannot equip blade weapons. He gets a bonus against animals, can travel further, and can summon animal allies. And we'll play alongside, let's say, Davra the Sorceress. So we'll put Davra right over here. And so she plays as the Sorcerer. Put that right there. And each player starts with 10 coins. So I'll slide this over here. Each start with 10 gold pieces. They start with a luck token, and luck token is there, and they start with a explorer token. And then they also start with a certain amount of combat and experience that's recorded on this track. So their combat is equal to what's on their card here. You can see the 2, and their experience starts at 0. And then the sorceress or sorcerer has 0 combat and always 0 XP. Then we will shuffle up these decks just to show you this game is completely random. And each player gets to draw 1 adventure card and 1 reward. Now normally these would be private in their hands, but for the sake of this game, so you can see everything that's happening, we'll have them face up. And the players aren't battling each other. They are in a basically a race to see who can get to 25 experience the fastest and have defeated at least 1 quest creature is the idea there. So these cards are in their hand, and we'll say everything up here is in their hand unless stated otherwise. As for who will go first, we'll say even number is Beric and an odd number is Davra. We'll give this a roll. We have an even or an odd number. So even was Beric, odd is Davra. Davra gets to go first. And that is basically all it takes to set up the game. These are the location cards. These are the quest creatures. They could be in a stack on the table. They don't necessarily have to be spread out like this. And same with all these. So this may look like a table hog at first, but you don't need all this stuff spread out on the table. All you need is your character boards and the decks and the board itself laid out. Alright, so Davra gets to go first, and she has a spellcasting ability, and she gains experience anytime she escapes battle as well, so kind of a perk to running away. She started with ancient coins. If she exchanges GP for XP, she can discard that for an extra 50 GP, and that's for an ability that people have to exchange money for gold, gold for experience. And then she has Nature Supplies, which is actually a good card for a druid. And the druid happens to have a card that's good for a fighter. But things can be sold here. So we start off with our character standees in the city of Vey. So both of us start off at, Vey City. So I'll just take their standees and put them here. And on a player's turn, they have a choice of whether they want to stay where they are and explore, provided they haven't explored there already, or they can travel up to 2 map markers in any direction they choose. Except for the druid has an extra map marker movement, so he can actually move farther faster. Alright, so Davra's going to go first. Now, she is in Vase City. While she's here, if we take a look at Vase, City of Streets, when you sell an item in Vase, you get an extra 5 money for each reward card sold. If you're a thief, you get extra. So that's the perk of that location. Now, yeah, it seems like something that she wants to do because she doesn't really need that reward card. So we'll put that reward card in the discard pile. She's going to sell that to get 10 gold pieces. Now, gold pieces can be used for experience or to buy cards later on. And then, you know what? She is going to explore here. So when I explore, I'm just going to flip them over. Normally, you would put this explore token under them, but for Tabletop Simulator, that can be a bit tedious. So we're just going to do it that way. So when she explores, she has a special ability that says when she draws her first adventure card in a turn, she can choose to discard it and then draw another card. And the way the explore action works is you normally follow that card's location if it has one. This one doesn't have any direction, so for a non-explore location, she will flip over the top card in the adventure deck. And if it's an encounter, she has to encounter it. Any other card, such as double encounter, could go to her hand. She's going to choose to discard it using her ability and draw this one instead. So this goes to her hand. She doesn't. It's kind of early in the game to do a double encounter. Unfortunately, she did draw a curse, however. Oh no, she drew a remove curse. That could be beneficial later on. So it says here, flip over the top card of the adventure deck. If it's an encounter card, discard it and battle a creature. Otherwise, put it in your hand. So we've done that part. If you've not faced an encounter, you can either draw an adventure or reward card, or you can play an encounter card from your hand. I do not have an encounter card in my hand, so I'm going to choose to draw a reward card. And so that'll go in my hand. So that brings me to the end of the explore phase, and then I move on to my recovery phase. There I can play any number of reward cards, play an adventure card, sell rewards, etc., etc. Oh, I couldn't have sold that other card till now, but that's okay. We're going to pop this. So this is a reward card. Rewards are generally equipment, and they can be equipped in the area that's identified on the icon on the card. So you can see on the top right, there's a scroll icon. That means on my board, it can go on the four corners of the right side, any of the item locations, because it goes head, body, legs, hand, and then items in the four corners. So we're going to pop that up there, and now she has a scroll of teleportation. So she can use that at the beginning of an adventure phase to travel to any location on the map if she wants to. That could be pretty handy for her. That'll be the end of her turn. Now we're going to move over to Beric the Druid of Vey. He can discard 2 cards to get a basic ally. Now the Hunting Lance is a really good card, so he doesn't want to use that. The Warhorse would be good for discarding. But instead of exploring, he's going to actually travel. He's allowed to travel 1 map marker, 2 map markers, and because of his special ability, he can travel a 3rd map marker. So that ability down here says gain +1 travel. Now, the reason I'm going to Vey, his homeland, is there's actually a perk. You can see the druid symbol on there. If he goes to the city of Vey, the first time he visits, if he's a druid, he gets 2 experience and gets a free reward card. So that's the reason I decided to go there. So experience, he goes from 0 up to 2 and gets a free reward card. So he just draws the top card of the reward deck, puts it into his hand, and he doesn't have it yet actually. We still have to, whenever we travel, we actually have to roll this travel die and follow the results. So there's 6 sides. If you roll a travel side, he can travel an extra 1 or gain 10 GP if he chooses not to travel the extra 1. So I'm going to take that 10 GP because I got to where I wanted to go to without needing that bonus travel. Alright, the travel die also has things like, oops, I'm zooming in here, has things like, oh, not rotating, there we go. You can get reward cards, you can get encounters where you have to battle the encounter deck, you can get adventure cards, so the travel die does a few different things. Then when you're at your destination, you get whatever happens there. Alright, so we got the 2 experience, we got the reward card, and then we go into the recovery phase because we've already adventured and traveled. Alright, we found a potion of strength. That's actually another really good card. So we're going to keep that potion of strength. I don't want to discard it for an ally because I think that's nice to have in place. And that will be the end of Beric's turn. We're going to go back to Davra's turn. Now, because she's already explored, she cannot explore again. So at the beginning of her turn, she actually does want to teleport. She's going to use it at the beginning of her adventure phase. There's nothing else she wants to do right now. So when she uses it, it'll go to the reward discard pile. And it says that she can travel to any location on the map, destroy after one use, and so she gets to travel there. So she will travel, and she wants to go down to Asa. That's kind of like the Druid's version, or the Sorcerer's version of the Druid. So Asa, just like Vase, or Vey, the first time she visits, if she's a wizard class, which she is, she'll get 2 experience and draw a card. Now, because she's not traveling normal travel, she doesn't roll the travel die, but she does get to draw her reward card. And then it says here, if you do, skip the rest of that phase. So nothing else happens in that phase. She goes to her end of turn phase, or her recovery phase, I should say. And she could equip this Blessed Water. Can be used by anybody and gives a bonus against demons and undeads, or she could keep it in her hand. She'll choose to equip it. Never know if that'll come in handy. And we'll go back to Beric's turn. So now what does Beric want to do? He's going to jaunt over here to the Dark Woods of Veyland. So that is a travel action. And he's going to roll the travel die. Whatever I did with it. I think I had it up here somewhere. There it is. He's going to roll the travel die because he's traveling. And he got a bonus travel action. So if he wanted to travel further, he could. No, he'll take the 10 gold. He wants to stay where he is. So nothing else happens to him once he's arrived there. And we'll go to Davra's turn. So Davra can actually explore in Asa if she wants to, which she does because she hasn't explored there yet. She'll draw the top card of the adventure deck, and she can choose to keep it or discard it. She'll discard it. I think it says discard, or does it say bottom of the pile? Discard it. Yeah. So she discards that. She wants the next card. She finds herself a Wealth of Knowledge, so that goes to her hand. And the player of her choice gains 1 if she chooses to use it. So she will. She will choose to use it actually. So on her recovery phase. So she drew her adventure card. She still can draw another adventure card or draw a reward card. She's going to draw a reward card. Drawing reward cards early in the game helps you get stuff to put on your board permanently. Unless you find something you can't really use. So for this one here, it says cannot be equipped by wizards. So that's okay. She could sell it for money if she wanted to. So she will use this Wealth of Knowledge card. That'll go in the discard pile and she'll gain 1 experience. Now you can see down here there is an experience combat track. Once you're at 3 experience, you get to move your combat up 1. So instead of being at 0, she's at 1 now. Technically 0 would be off the board. So she's at 1 combat and 3 experience. Alright, so she's done. We'll go back to Beric. Beric is going to... Now I didn't tell you about the Dark Woods because I knew nothing would happen there yet. Nothing happens there until he explores there. And then it's an encounter location. So when he explores there, he gets to flip over cards from the encounter deck until he finds an animal creature. An animal, we'll find one here, I'm sure. So an animal, you can see on the center left, it says animal. So that's the creature he's going to fight. And it says the other cards get shuffled back in the deck. So we'll group the rest back together. Flip them over, put these in here, and shuffle this up. This is a tough opponent, but what we'll do is we'll bring this over here. He's got to battle this opponent. And the Dark Woods of Vey actually say the creature gets +2 combat. So this creature, instead of a 7 combat, is going to be a 9 combat. And it's doing a Diving Strike. Diving Strike is you can see the 10-sided action die there. So if you ever see that when you're doing a battle, you have to roll this die. So we'll roll this die. and it says, if you roll a 5 or less, Diving Griffin rolls 2 dice for combat and uses a higher result. If I had an escape bonus, I could add it to the roll, but I don't. So Diving Griffin's going to get to roll twice and pick the higher result. Kind of gives it a little bit of a bonus. We'll steal this die to do it. And the way combat works, and it is on the board over here, you verify your combat modifier. So sometimes it's good to double check what your number should be at. Now I don't have any permanent equipment, so my combat modifier is still just at 2. And then it will tell you that if the creature has a special ability, resolve it, which we did. Decide if you want to escape. We're going to say no. We'll try fighting this fight. I'm going to roll the action die for myself and then for the opponent. So this will be my roll. Beric has rolled a 2 and not good. Griffin, take the higher of the 2 dice, rolls a 10. All right, so we've done that part. Add your combat modifier, so I'm going to add 2 and then add the creature's modifier. Now, in here, there is the option, and we'll have to update that, but there is the option to now modify before the results are decided for sure. So if I wanted to use this potion of strength, I could, or if I wanted to use this against a dragon or monstrosity, which this is not, I could. Unfortunately, even adding +5 will only get me to 7, which won't beat this creature's 17. So I'm going to be defeated. When I'm defeated, I lose 2 experience. So I'll be back down to 0, and I lose 10 gold. Now each creature has a different loss condition. That just happens to be the Griffin's under defeat there. If I had beaten the Griffin, I would have got 2 experience plus 2 rewards. But alas, that did not happen. Beric got taken down. And now there would have been one more modifier. The Griffin would have got +2, and because it was an animal, I would have got +2 back. So kind of evened out there. Beric made a bad decision and got defeated. He's not out of the game though. He just lost a little bit of experience. I'm going to go back to Davra's turn. Now Davra cannot explore because she already explored this turn. So she can travel. I haven't used her spell power yet. She can get +1 travel, +2 combat, and +3 escape. Actually, I haven't had to use it yet. So let's do 1, 2, and we'll use +1 travel as her spell ability, spell casting for the turn. So she gets to move 3, then we will roll the travel die because she's traveled this turn. And she gets to move an extra 1 if she wants to, except that Flooded Plains has a travel icon on it. And if we check out Flooded Plains, which is under the F, out here. If you would pass through it, you must stop. So we're going to choose to get the 10 gold for travel instead. All right, so that's it for Davra's turn. We go back to Beric's turn. He's just going to move up and roll a travel die. Beric gets a travel icon. He doesn't want to travel any further, so he'll take the 10 money. And now he's at Zandera's Cloud City. When he arrives there, he can discard cards from the top of the reward deck until he reveals a magic item. And you can pay the sell value of the card to draw it, otherwise discard it. So we're going to reveal cards until we reveal a magic item. He can buy a Staff of the Ram for 25 gold. That is a perfect investment for a druid, so he's going to spend his 30, get 5 back in change, and buy this for 25, as per this card's ability. Alright, now that he's bought that, there's nothing else he can do this turn other than his recovery phase, so he could equip that. And it looks like a good weapon for him to equip. Yeah, you can see that it requires 2 hands and the druid icon. He has 2 hands free and he has the druid icon. So he's going to equip it. When he equips it, he gains the 4 on the right hand side. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And he can play ally cards under the staff and add their combat to this card's value. So normally you'd be restricted to have a number of allies equal to your item slots, and they take up those slots. But with the Staff of the Ram, you can tuck them underneath and still get their bonus, so that's a nice perk for the druid. Beric is quite happy that after his dark defeat in the woods of Valand, he found something to help him in his next combat. We'll move on to Davra's turn. Davra's gonna... where does she want to go? She hasn't found a lot of stuff yet. That plate armor is not the greatest, so she will travel and go back to Bay City so she can sell it. She'll roll the travel die. She has rolled a travel icon as well. Seems like we roll that a lot. She doesn't want to travel again, so she's going to take 10 gold instead. And then she's going to sell this armor. So instead of selling it for 15, she's going to sell it for 20. So we'll put that there. Now these cards should have shuffled back in. She's taking 20 gold. So we'll take 10. I'll show you how we can use gold to buy stuff next turn. Alright, we'll go back to Beric's turn. Beric could explore here if he wanted to. He can't use the city's ability again. Because he's already there. It says when you arrive. He'd have to actually spend a turn to leave and then spend a turn to go back to try to pump himself up. Does he want to explore or does he just want to travel? He'll explore. Why not? So when he explores, draw the top card of the adventure deck. If it's not a curse or an encounter, it'll go right to his hand, and then he can draw an adventure or reward card. He's going to draw a reward card to go to his hand. This is a priest-only item, the holy symbol. You could sell those 2 items if you wanted to, because you can only have 5 cards in your hand. Actually, you know what he's going to do? He's going to discard those 2 cards. So those 2 rewards he will discard, and he's going to use his ability to gain a basic ally card and put it on an empty item slot. So basic ally is just the wolf or bear. They're double-sided. They're the same thing. The griffin you can only get with the spiritual summoner. So we're going to take we'll take the bear. Put the bear there, and the bear has a combat value of 2, but the bear can actually go under the staff of the ram. So that's what we're going to do, and we still get the 2 bonus. So now we're up to 8. Beric's pretty happy with that. Alright, we're back to Davra's turn. Where does Davra want to do? She was going to... She sold her armor for 20. At the beginning of her turn, she's going to spend 25. So she'll get 5 change. And so one of the things you can do at the beginning of every turn is purchase an adventure card or a reward card. So she's going to purchase an adventure card, but she doesn't have to pick the first card. So she's going to discard that one and take this card. Sadly, she purchased a Curse of the Crow. It goes on her character, and she suffers a -2 experience penalty as long as she has it. So she's down to 1 experience. Now, she does have a remove curse card, so she'll just activate that right away and get rid of those cards. So again, sometimes you take risks and they don't pay off. She's just kind of back to square one now, but that's okay. Back to Beric's turn. He explored last turn, so he has to travel this turn. He's going to travel 1, 2, 3, because he has a 3rd travel, and roll the travel die. He has an encounter. So if you have an encounter on the travel die before you get to the location, you have to fight whatever you face. In this case, he's fighting an oxen. Has an attack power of 5. It's worth 2 experience if he beats it. No other victory condition, but he says when you encounter it, you can choose to discard it and ignore a battle this turn. He kind of wants to fight, so he's going to take down this oxen. The oxen has no special abilities, so basically Beric rolls his combat value. The creature rolls its. So Beric has 10 plus 8 is 18. The creature has 9 plus 5 is 14. So Beric has defeated the oxen, which means he will gain 2 experience. So he's happy to be back at 2, and nothing else happens. That goes to the discard pile. Now Beric traveled to what we call a waypoint. A waypoint just means that it's in between locations and there's no perk to going there. Just takes extra time to get there. Alright, Davra, what is she going to do? She's going to explore, draw the top card of the adventure deck. She almost has that ability already, so she's going to ignore that skill and draw another card. Advanced Studies. So that'll go into her hand. Once she is at 7 experience, she can become an advanced class, so that kind of gives her a boost Then she can draw a reward or another adventure. She's going to draw a reward, find a light helmet. The light helmet has no restrictions, so during her recovery phase, she's going to equip that helmet to gain +1 combat. So now she's at 1. Alright. We are going to move along to Beric. Now Beric could explore if he wanted to, but he's going to travel. 1, 2. No, he'll travel 1 to Floating Falls. When he travels, he rolls a travel die. He found a reward, so he gets a bonus reward card. Goes to his hand. This is only a small treasure, so he's probably not going to keep that. And then Floating Falls, if we take a look at that, that's an explore location, so he can't do anything until he explores it next turn. So we'll go back to Davra's turn. Davra explored last turn, so she has to travel this turn. She is going to... she has 35 gold. She could buy another card. You need 50 gold for 1 experience, 100 gold for 3, and 150 gold for 5 experience. Kind of lets you cheat your way to experience. But I don't have any of that right now, so let us travel to... we'll go down south. 1. We're just going to travel 1 because we want to fight. We'll travel 2. Why not? Travel 2, we'll go to Kismatic's Keep eventually. So on our travel 2, we roll the travel die. Got a bonus travel, so we're going to take it to go to Kismatic's Keep. Nothing else happens because Kismatic's Keep is a quest location. We'll move back to Beric's turn. Beric only has 5 gold, nothing he wants to buy. He's going to discard a Divine Intervention and a 5 gold reward card to summon another ally. It says here you may... oh, he does have an ally in place, so he can't do that. Sorry. There is another character, the Superior Summoner, can have multiple allies, but he cannot. So you know what? He's going to or Floating Falls we're going to do, that's right. So we're going to explore in the Floating Falls. When you explore there, standard steps, but instead of the top adventure card, he looks at the top 3, picks 1, and shuffles the other 2 back in. So normally he would draw this card and get it, but instead he gets to look at all 3 of these and pick which one he wants. He's going to take risky rewards because Experience of War, he's already not far behind for experience. So these will get shuffled back in, and then he still follows the rest of his reward step. His second reward step, he's going to pull another adventure card. Alright, so he's pulling an encounter. So what happens with an encounter is the encounter card gets discarded and he must fight the top card of the encounter deck. Alright. He has to fight a Shadow Demon. So Shadow Demon has an attack power of 9, worth 4 experience and another victory condition. But first it will do Shadow Smoke, and that's before you have the choice to run away. So Shadow Smoke, we roll an action die, which is a d10. The result is a 10. It says here, if the result is less than 15, you don't gain your experience bonus, but you add your experience to the roll. So he's going to add 2 to the roll of 10 for a total of 12, which is less than 15, so he doesn't get his experience bonus. He's pretty low right now on experience, so that didn't actually hurt him. Now we'll do the decision to run away. I'm not going to run away because we feel pretty tough. With our Potion of Strength and our Staff of the Realms. So we've got an attack bonus of 8 against their attack bonus of 9. He thinks he has a shot here. So we're both going to roll our attack die. The demon has 7 plus 9 is 16. Beric has 5 plus 8 is 13. So we're going to drink this potion to boost. So the potion goes in the discard pile and gives us plus 5. So now we're up to 18 against 16. which means Beric is victorious. He gets 4 experience, 1, 2, 3, 4, and he gets 2 reward cards right away. So that goes there. Beric gets these 2 cards to go into his hand, and now he's got some more toys to play with. So that all happened during the Explore phase. Now it does say during the Explore phase, if you have not faced an encounter, you can draw another card. Because he has, he doesn't get to. That's because when you face an encounter card, you either get defeated and run away crying, or you beat it and get some kind of benefit. He found 2 scrolls though, so he could equip those during his recovery phase and use those whenever he wants. And actually has a scroll of summoning to gain a basic animal ally. So he could use that scroll, get an animal ally. We'll take a wolf this giant, even though it's the same. And we're going to put it under the Staff of the Ram, and that's worth 2 more combat. 1, 2. The other thing he gets for combat is now that he's up to 6 experience, he gets +2 combat, whereas before that he was only at 2 and didn't have any, so he's actually up to 12 combat now. He's becoming a real force, a real potential Legend of Novus. Alright, that is all the time I have to cover the game for now, but I just wanted to show some of the updated fonts. For those who have not seen Legends of Novus before or how to play, this gives you a quick overview of a 2-player game and what's happening. The ultimate goal of the game is to move to a location that has a quest creature, defeat that quest creature, and they are pretty tough, and still also pursue through the game to get 25 experience. And the other part of the game you haven't seen yet is that once you get 10 experience, and Beric was getting close, once you get to 10 experience, you get to become a advanced class character. So what happens is whatever class you are, like Beric is a druid, the tree, can become an advanced class as long as it has that symbol. So you can become a relentless ranger, a spiritual saint, a superior summoner, or a brutal beast form. And those are kind of like multi-class characters with even more powerful abilities, so that you do have a chance of defeating these crazy powerful epic creatures in the game. But we'll save that for another time. Maybe I will save the progress of this game where it is and complete the game when I have some more time. But there you have it, kind of an introduction to 2 players playing Legends of Novus. If you're interested in getting a copy, by all means, reach out, let me know, send a note in the comments, or email fundamentalgames@icloud.com. And there's more to come on the future of Legends of Novus later this year. Take care.